Welcome to Our Paramotor Nation. Tonight's show is sponsored by Fly PBG, offering a full-service paramotor training experience with 3 on-site instructors and limited class sizes. Florida Flight Sports, year-round training at your truck training headquarters. You can do this. PPG lights make one heck of an impression with countless patterns and colors on your paramotor. Lone Star Paramotor has become one of the most sought-out paramotor schools, offering foot launching and trike training classes and much more. PPG Zone, one stop for everything you want to know about the paramotor scene, where fly-ins are happening, and so much more. Aviator Paramotor is a cornerstone for paramotor training while offering its students some of the top paramotor equipment. Fly PBG Discovered Power Paragliding has helped people from around the world get into our great sport. Wisconsin Flight Sports, they make it affordable and accessible for you to get your paramotor training. Charlie Soap, an all-natural laundry detergent and household cleaner, are like no other. One-Up Adventures and ParamotorProps.com, sharing their passion for flight on adventures around the world. Skylab Paramotor SIB, teaching paramotor pilots of all skill levels collapse recovery and advanced maneuvers. True North Paramotors are American-made, lightweight, cutting-edge, fully customizable paramotor frames, complete units, wings, and accessories. Check out their website today. Blackhawk Paramotors USA's mission is to produce the safest, most powerful, and most reliable powered paragliding equipment in the world. Paraswag USA, your complete powered paragliding gear source. iFly Indiana provides USPPA certified powered paragliding training on your equipment or on theirs for prices as low as $2,500. Wicked Wings logo can help you have a one-of-a-kind glider with one or multiple colors. Visit the Our Paramotor Nation website. Check out the upcoming shows, the past shows, and all of its sponsors. And now, let's get started with this episode of Our Paramotor Nation.
What's up, everybody? I'm exhausted. It is another show after a fly-in. If you saw me yesterday, you'll see I'm still wearing the same clothes. I haven't showered, I haven't changed, I haven't shaved. I'm exhausted. Therefore, there is not going to be an after show this evening because me and John and there look at him. There he is. John Ripa, looking fresh as a daisy as always. He's exhausted. He's here tonight filling in for Rick Davies, PPG Gorilla. We're expecting him back any day, right, John?
Oh, from your lips to God's ears.
I got someone else joining us tonight, and he is the host of Clear Prop TV on Monday night. There is Sean Simon, PPG Grandpa. Welcome, Sean, to Our Paramotor Nation.
Well, thank you very much. It's good to be on your show. It's cool that I had you on the show one time, and now you finally got me on the show.
That's right.
I appreciate it, man.
Oh, yes. Well, Sean, you know, we're blessed in so many. There's a cat jumping on my microphone. We're blessed in so many ways that we've got a lot of things. You know, we don't have TV. We're not on TV yet. Nobody is, but we hopefully will be one day. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know if we really want to put that much work into it, John. But there is Clear Prop TV though. But we've got Sunday night, Our Paramotor Nation. Monday night, Clear Prop TV. Tuesday, Never Trust a Skinny Chef Shane's show.
Yep.
Wednesday is Flamingo Jade and the Girls Show. And, of course, Thursday, the originator is Robert Michaels with paraglidingtalk.com. Tonight's show is a really important one. And I'm all giddy and excited and joyful. I think we're all just exhausted. But we're going to be talking about safety and incidents. But before we do that, let's I know Sean is going to have a lot to talk about tomorrow night about the Moonshiner fly-in. Let's talk just for a few moments. Can we, guys? Can we talk about it for a second?
I hope so.
Let's do it.
All right. So there was a lot of people there. We're going to play how many people can we name in 60 seconds. We're each going to go around real quick. I want to start with Randy Milstead. He's a nice gentleman who kicked my butt in this washer games, and I promised I'd mention him on the show. All right, everybody go.
Tim Gaskins.
Oh, yeah.
Eric and Jade Lear.
James Sutherland, Charlie Soap.
Will Fly.
Will who? Who's that? Will Sean?
Will Fly, Will Swim.
Will Swim. Gotcha. All right.
We got also Deweese and Randy Milstead were there too.
I said
that. Nick Griffith, Pablo.
Woody Gamertag. Mad Woodworth was there.
J.P. Tulo.
Yes.
Yep. The other Nick and Brooke Sheffield.
Mark and Elena Honeycutt.
Cool.
Yeah.
Johnson Q.
Shane.
John Wayne, Allie, Todd from Resurgence PPG.
Todd Falstead, Yankee Paramotor.
Brian Haydale Waller.
Yeah, good old Hay Bill.
right.
Mark and Ellie, or Mark and Amy George.
Oh, yes.
Jamie Sutherland.
Mike Cotter.
James Sutherland.
James Southern. I mentioned that. That's the first. Mark Ryder, Jeff, Andrew Solano. The list goes on and on. There were so many people there. And if we missed you, sorry. We're tired. But there's a lot of people there. We had a great time. Anybody want to say their highlight?
Chris Wheeler.
Chris
My
Wheeler.
dog is choking.
Yes, of course. Highlight. What was the funniest highlight for each of you? I'll give you
Well,
mine.
let me segue right in for me
Segue.
before you go.
Go.
Was hanging out with Chris's dog.
Oh, yes. Was he choking?
Tora.
What was he choking though?
No,
Was not
that
choking.
dog was great.
All right. So I'll give you one of my funniest highlights was James Sutherland, Charlie Soap, one of the sponsors of a show. He walked over to me and said, "Hey, I was about to go take a shower. Do you have any soap? Any shampoo?" I said, "Really?
Shampoo.
Yeah, really? You're asking that for me? All right, all right."
And I went looking for it in my trailer, not realizing it was Charlie Soap looking for shampoo.
Right? All right, Sean. What was the funny highlight for you?
Well, the funniest highlight for me was not actually at the field. We went for a birthday for Shane and Krista, and we were over at the Mexican restaurant. And when you have a birthday at a restaurant, they come over and give you a birthday cake.
Yeah.
Well, the person that came over with the birthday cake actually smashed the birthday cake into Krista's face, which was pretty funny, and we got that on film. It was awesome. Yeah, that was the highlight.
What?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
And then Shane, of course, had to, take care of that for her. And
I can imagine. We went
It
to
is a
that.
highlight.
We went there last night for dinner.
Oh, did
And-
you?
Yeah, that was the cheapest Mexican restaurant house. It was like a house. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Tiny, like
It
$11
was
for dinner.
cheap.
Are you kidding, John? What about you? Funny highlight. John.
Highlights?
Yeah, funny highlight. Give me one.
Oh God, funny highlights. We decided to do a 18-mile downhill bicycle ride, and I'll tell you what, I haven't ridden a bike in 20 years, so that was pretty funny. And the last 10 miles was pedaling the whole way, so it wasn't really downhill.
All right. All right. Well, that was fun. It was a great. It was great. It was a
Beautiful
great event.
area. Beautiful area.
Tough to launch. We're going to talk about some things that happened there too. But I would suggest if you want to hear more of the fun fun things, tune in tomorrow night. Clear Prop TV, right?
Absolutely. ClearPropTV.com.
Let's get into the topic, safety. So, Sean, I got a question for you.
Yes.
I'm going to name 5 people. All these
Okay.
people are great pilots, and all these people are instructors. And my question to you is, what do all 5 of these people have in common besides those two things? 2 things. You got Leah Catullo,
Great pilot.
Kyle Mooney,
Awesome.
Travis Burns.
Amazing.
Let's round out the trio from One Up Adventures with Allie
Allie's amazing.
and Kyle O'Glee.
Kyle's a great guy.
Yeah, what do all of these people now have in common?
I think they all had a little boo-boo on their paramotors.
That's right. So Paris
Paris stuff.
Yeah, because Leah did get injured paragliding when she landed. Kind of fell backwards, hurt her boo-booed on her arm. Kyle Mooney was on a couple weeks ago. He injured his foot. Travis Burns injured his hand. I think he was the first one. Allie, I think, landed wrong and injured her ankle. And then recently Kyle O'Glee, who may or may not stop. He's probably not going to stop by tonight. I know he had a first flight for someone, but he injured his finger as well, and probably everybody saw that on Facebook. But that's why we're going to talk about. Look, if injuries, things can happen in paramotoring to these 5
Having
people.
to the most experienced pilots.
Why can't it just happen to us? And we did see some injuries this past week at Moonshiners. We're going to talk a lot of them, but very first thing I'm going to talk about, and this is something that's really just in the last couple of weeks have changed. Oh, DP. We didn't mention DP. DP was there. I even wrote him down on my list. This is something that's changed.
DP!
Yep. This is something that's changed my life and made me far more aware of safety and checklists and everything. And I know a lot of people have heard me talk about this in the last couple shows. My buddy Jason, who was injured. So I want to talk about Jason. Here's a photo of Jason now. This was last week. As you notice, he's holding up 3 fingers because he lost 2 fingers on his hand in my driveway. in his prop, and it's really affected me. And I'm happy to say that Jason's doing a lot better up here than I am, far better than I am. He's an amazing guy. He's an amazing guy, and I want to kind of start off with the backstory of him, so you can understand how this happened or where he came from. So he started flying. He went to training. I'm not going to say the school he went to, but you'll kind of get an idea when I tell you that he basically stayed in a hotel for 5 days because the weather, it might have been a little bit too windy for this instructor to send a pilot up, but he got no training, zero training at all. He got what he paid for. And on the last day, he was the instructor was about to take his training from northeastern Ohio down to Florida, and he said, "Come on, I'm going to get you up in the air." And Jason said, "You haven't trained me on anything." And he says, "But that's what a radio's for." Well, lo and behold, a few moments after Jason got airborne, the instructor's radio battery went dead, and Jay almost killed him. Got killed. He didn't almost kill himself. He almost got killed. So he left there, went to another instructor, a great instructor, but because of weather, he was only able to make one flight. After that, he did make several flights. The last flight he made was a year and a half ago, and I kind of coached him up in the air, and he did great, and I was proud of him. But really, that first flight where the instructor's battery died really put fear in him. And year and a half went by, Jason wasn't flying. And so I said, let's get you up in there. He goes, Dave, I've really been thinking about selling all my gear. He goes, but maybe we should try it one more time. I said, yeah, let's do it. Saturday morning, I called him up and said, Jay, I know we were going to fly tonight, but I just don't like how windy the winds aloft are for you. I don't want to send you up tonight, but if you want, come on over to my house. We'll get all your gear set up. We'll make sure everything's working and primed and ready to go. So the time that we can do it, we will get you up in the air. And pulled out his paramotor, which was attached to the trike, and it seemed a little bit wobbly. I said, is this supposed to be like that? He goes, yeah, it's attached the way it's supposed to be. I said, okay. Started up the motor, sounded great, gave it a little thrust, and it started leaning over. So, of course, I killed that motor right away. I said, Jay, are you really sure this thing is hooked up correctly? He goes, yeah, it's just this one strap going around the tank, but I can tighten it up. I said, yeah, let's definitely tighten that thing up. Now, at this point, I got down on my knee, and I put my forearm against the, and again, remember, I'm not familiar with this equipment at all. I put my forearm against the harness, had my throttle in the right hand. I had Jason behind me and on the other side of the axle, so he's by the front axle, and just kind of holding it down so maybe it doesn't tilt back accidentally and break a prop. Well, as I started giving this thing more and more throttle, this carbon fiber paramotor cracked, and it leaned over on top of me. And immediately, of course, I went to kill the motor. And the harness was really protecting me, but Jason unfortunately put his hands up like this and lost these two fingers and even the tip of his pinky. But
yikes!
Like I said, Jay's an incredible guy. He believes that it was meant to be. Our prayers are with him. I think everybody who's been praying. He actually got his stitches off yesterday, and he says it looks great. And the doctor even said, because this is your non-predominant hand, in a year from now, you're going to kind of go ahead and it's not even going to be a big deal for you. And he believes that to be true. Here's what happened, and I'll tell you what I learned from this as well. What happened was the paramotor was supposed. If this is my hand is the trike and the paramotor's here, the paramotor's supposed to be put in at an angle and then clipped forward, so it actually clips in the back and is held in the back. And then the straps hold it in place. And Jay thought it was. But being that he only made so many flights, he's really, even though it's 5 years, he's really a new pilot. And he didn't think to look at that, okay? So maybe in the trailer on the way over, it bumped loose and came out. It's possible. That's what happened. So that's what happened. That's what caused it. My takeaway, what I learned from this, and I would highly advise everybody to consider this, if you're helping a newer pilot and you are unfamiliar with their equipment, say to them, I'd really like to learn more about your equipment. Why don't you do me a favor? Take it apart and show me how you put everything back together. If nothing else, go through a checklist so that you can look at every little part and piece and make sure it's put together right.
Couldn't hurt.
Yeah. So
couldn't hurt.
Yeah, so that's what happened.
That was very unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have been prevented, and that was very unfortunate.
Yeah. We had an incident at the fly-in. Um, guy broke his femur. Going
Yeah.
to launch. John, why don't you talk about that?
From what I heard, and I'm not too sure, he tried to when he took off. He got a little sink and came back down, and when he landed, he came down pretty hard and supposedly, broke his femur, like you said.
Yeah.
It was a pretty sketch city area for takeoffs and landings. Definitely not a beginner's area to take off. As a lot of people know, it's at altitude up there. What is it, like 2,200 feet, David, or even more?
Yeah, it's just over 2,200 feet. Sean, why don't you talk about your experience with this field? Listen. I think it was a great fly-in. I think it was organized very, very well, but a lot of people had difficulties. My buddy Mark Ryder, you know, I think he's a very good pilot. We fly together all the time. He has no issues taking off and landing. He even looks really good doing a little foot dragging. But John, what did he say? Nine failed launch? 10 failed launches. So,
yeah.
Sean, what were your thoughts on it?
Well, first of all, I mean, we talked about this before the show. The winds would come in this way, and then immediately they would switch to this way. You could see a pilot take off this way, and then another pilot take off this way right after him because the wind switched so much. I've never in my life seen that. And another thing too, there was not a lot of lift. I'm used to putting in 5 gallons in my foot launch and running. Even in nil wind, I can get up in between 10 to 15 steps. It's no big deal. This one I had just a couple of gallons, and I was running a football field and still couldn't get any lift. I've never seen such a thing.
Craziest thing, right?
I busted 6 times and never got in the air.
Wow.
A couple of them were with the trike because I was thinking, all right, maybe Grandpa's just too old and maybe he just needs to go faster, right? Jumped on the trike, and boom, I busted big time in the trike because the wind. Here we go. I don't know if I told you this or not, but I was on the right-hand side of the runway, okay, facing this way because the wind was coming towards me, right? The other side of the runway, the wind was going the opposite direction. So obviously the wind was going this way. Well, as I was taking off, the wheel on my trike hit a pothole, bent.
Mm-hmm.
I went off to the side and I couldn't correct it and slammed straight down on my shoulder and noggin. That's another reason why I always wear a helmet.
Oh my gosh, and I'm so glad you said that because I pointed out to John and whoever else was sitting around me. I'm watching people flying trikes.
Tandems
with no helmets. Did we see any trikes roll over?
There were a couple that did, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing protecting you. Earmuffs are not enough. Get a freaking helmet on.
Before I got there too, there was a trike. The lady that was flying the trike, her brake, I think, got caught. So as she took off, she was going around in a circle. She was trying to correct it, then came down and spun and hit hard, destroyed the trike, but she walked away fine. So thank God.
Thank God, yeah.
That she was fine. I flipped over the trike. I saw another trike that almost busted. Did you see that one that was on the far end where the guy took off and he was doing this, and I thought he was going to bust. I don't know how he made it up, but thank God he made it up and didn't get hurt.
So let's go back to that lady. What could have prevented that accident from happening?
I don't know enough about the accident to be able to say anything about it, unfortunately.
Right. So I think a lot of times we are rushing. I'm going to be the first to say it. I am so freaking guilty of it. I watch some of my favorite people who fly, and they are quick. Throw the motor on, get it warmed up. Don't even warm it up really fast. Throw my glider out there, checking my A's. Okay, everything looks good. Clip, gone. Off we go. Right? Man, after Jason's accident, I've toned everything back. I want to show everybody something real quick, and I haven't brought this up in a while. This is our Paramotor Nation website, okay? A lot of neat things. Of course, if you've ever seen it, take a look. You can see all first 100 episodes and all the episodes since 101 and on. This I just put on here today. Jeff Goyne and I spoke, and Jeff gave me permission to put these on here. These are the very back cover. These are on the very back cover of the most recent Paramotoring Bible by Jeff Goyne, and I would highly encourage everybody, if you have not gotten a copy of it, please get it. You can go to, I know for one place, Paraswag sells them, okay? And what you have here is an inspection checklist, a before start checklist, a pre-launch checklist, a pre-landing checklist, and a post-flight checklist. You can click on any one of these and download them. And Jeff has given us permission to post these for the sake of everybody's safety. Please consider doing that. Of course, real quickly, since I got it here, you can see on the website all the upcoming shows. Next week, we got Blaze Brogan. We're going to be taking a week off after that because I will be in Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
Yep, all the upcoming fly-ins that remain for the year that I know of. But I know right there, PPG Zone, you can click on them. PPG Zone probably has even more accurate of all the remaining fly-ins. And, of course, there's more information, including information about Resurgence PPG, supporting our veterans. So please download
David,
this. And one more thing about that, too, John, before. I want to show you this, too. This is on my iPhone right here. Everybody who has an iPhone, well, you know, if you don't have an iPhone, it's time to get into the new century. But everybody's got on their photos, right? And if you go into your photos, you got albums. You can create an album. And my top right album right here is called Paramotor Checklist. So I've got all 5 of those checklists right there. So when I go out to the field, I'm doing my inspection checklist. And when I've gotten through that, I'm going to go on my before start checklist. And then I'm going to go on my pre-launch checklist. And then when I've gone through all of those, and some of them may be redundant, but when I've gone through all of those, then I know I'm ready to fly. My gosh. A lot safer.
That's good stuff, yeah.
What were you going to say there, John?
So I was going to say I did something pretty stupid this weekend. I was pre-flighting my machine, and I had a really good friend of mine, David Wilborn, come over and start talking to me. So I asked him nice. I said, David, I just want to go over everything, make sure everything's good before I take off. Can you give me a few minutes? I'll talk to you when I come down. He's like, yeah, no problem. So I did what I had to do, and I checked everything out. I hooked in, and I stopped my motor up, and I start walking out to my glider, and Johnson Q comes running over to me and says, dude, your prop's on backwards. I said, what? Sure enough.
Oh, that's right.
I put my prop on backwards.
Totally.
One half of my prop was backwards. I didn't even know it could go on backwards. How long am I doing this? Almost 5 years?
Yeah.
So anyways, I don't even know that I guess when I ran it up, I would have known I wasn't getting thrust if it even would have run up.
No, Johnson said it would have stopped on the airbox.
The clutch, because it was a clutch motor, though, the motor might have spun up, but it wouldn't. The prop wouldn't spin. But anyway, crazy. Look at something so stupid like that. Like, I mean, I put that prop on and off every time I fly because I take my motor apart when I transport it. And yeah, something so simple. I mean, complacency. That's it. As the word you were gonna hear it eventually, but
complacency is devastating. And I'm gonna talk about another person who gave me permission to show a video. This is about a 1.5-minute video. I'm going to play it here. And this comes from a guest of ours, a good friend of mine, Tim Garvey.
How long's this guy been flying, David? Long time.
I should know. It's a long time. But you see, Tim,
12 years probably.
Paramotor, paragliding, you know, he's the only person, well, he's one of very few people I know of that can launch a Fresh Breeze Monster standing up. And that's a heavy, heavy paramotor. So this happened, I think, a week and a half ago in Bowling Green, Ohio. He was doing some paragliding. Great flight. And he got towed. I'm going to show you the video, and then we'll talk about it. Let's watch this.
Hold on. We got it. Don't have it. My brake's still goofed up.
Imagine that. Clear to the pulley.
My brake's still goofed up.
So Tim, thank you so much for letting us share that video tonight of you, buddy. Tim is always looking to help people out, and to take something, a complacency moment that he might have had, and be able to share that to hopefully save someone else the pain and anguish that he could have definitely had. It's crazy. It's crazy, John. You call it the what do you always tell me I'm going to be going through soon?
Oh, intermediate syndrome.
Intermediate syndrome. So
everybody goes through it. Don't think you're going to get away unscathed.
Yeah. There's a lot of accidents that can be prevented. There was I'll say gentleman who was at the fly-in last night who was in a trike. Sean, you had already left, and he was just flying right up and down over the LZ, just back and forth and waving and laughing, and finally Cody, who was running the fly-in, part of the fly-in group, the guys that were running it, went over and had a conversation after he landed. But there was a lot of people really upset, and I think about this. We talk about this all the time at fly-ins. Get up and get away. What if someone had a motor out and needed to make an emergency landing? What if someone was trying to land but they couldn't because someone's going up and down the LZ? It's ridiculous. It's like everybody forgets to put their brains in their pockets when they go to a fly-in sometimes.
Well, the wind was so bad anyway, and the air was so, there wasn't a lot of lift. So anybody that goes over, you got to wait for a little bit before the air is even nice enough to be able to get back up in the air again. So, I mean, if you're flying over the pilots, then you're just messing up the air that's already trash.
Yes, that's exactly right. John had talked about, John kind of warned everybody last week, didn't he, about the way that the air is over there in Mountain City. I had the honor, the pleasure of taking up birthday girl, the day before her birthday, Amy George, on a tandem, and I couldn't believe how slow the lift was. It was shocking to me, because 30 seconds into flight, I should be 200 feet off the ground normally, at least. And here, I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, I should be looking for power line still. This is insane. I'm not even getting in a lift. And on that end of the field, it actually starts to gain altitude as well. So now 2 minutes into flight, I'm only about 30 feet above ground level, in which case I said, Amy, we got to turn around and gain some altitude where we have some room to gain. And unfortunately, the wind was so bumpy up there. And Amy, even though she's got an amazing instructor in Kyle O'Glee, still a new pilot, not comfortable with the bump tolerance just yet. We said, let's make a landing. And we did the safe thing, and we came right back down. So there you go. Sean, why don't you talk about a friend of ours who joined a very elite group of people who take it into the water? Why don't you talk about our friend Will Fly?
Well, Will Fly, if you don't know, you might want to go over to willflyppg.com, and that forwards over to his YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed and hit that bell notification, he puts out amazing videos. He's going to be putting out one soon about him going into the water. Now, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but the guy is going through, down this narrow little creek and doing a foot drag, I think. And, well, he sets it down very nice and gently, right, Dave? He just kites that wing down and just walks away from it. Is that how you heard it?
If that's what you want to call it, I guess we'll see in the video.
We're gonna call it that. So make sure you go over to willflyppg.com and check out his stuff and tell us later on when he posts it.
Yeah, I think everybody should take a look at that video, and then they can be the judge of what they saw as well. All right, guys, let's talk about it. I think we've actually hit all the big things that we wanted to, although John and I have been talking about this for months now, of just the safety aspect, because, oh my gosh, we've had a couple fatalities too, John, right?
Yeah, it's
been a bad year.
The sport we do, it's you got to take it serious. The ground is unforgiving.
Yeah,
I think about that. I think how many do you, as you're sitting there in front of your phone or your computer watching the show, do you need to see someone lose 2 fingers before you say, okay, I need to take a check in the mirror and really dial it back?
No, not at all. I mean, somewhere in the last year or two, something just clicked, and I said, I made it this far. I got away with a lot. I really emptied my luck bucket out, and I got to start replenishing it. I'm going to take a step back. You know when I think it hit for me, David, after the SIV course, and I've always said that.
You did.
I kind of just took a step back, and I want to be in this for the long term, and you know, I just dialed it back a little bit.
Yeah.
So
It's funny you should say that because my reaction to SIV, and I've said this on the show, was very unique and different from yours. I felt invincible, right? I'm out there
I,
doing sats now, and this is great, and wingovers, and I can't wait to go to the next thing. And after this with Jason, I had a conversation with Chris Holbert at our flying field, and I said, Chris, I think I'm at the end of everything I want to learn. I still want to be able to do a barrel roll, and I think that's just the next thing and the last thing that I want to learn. But other than that, I have no desire to go more than that. He's in the chat right now, Yankee Paramotor, and I had a great long flight with Yankee, even though he passed me and kept going and kept going. He's a terrible wingman, John. He's
yeah,
horrible.
he doesn't fly. He doesn't come around back and fly with you. He just takes off.
I said, let's
Yeah.
fly together. His flight
Yeah.
together is a half a mile down the road. I'm like,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh. I actually had to, and I really did this. In flight, I hooked up my speed bar, and I like to fly. I had boots on because it was a wet, slippery grass, and I don't like to use speed bar when I'm flying with my boots on, but I had to hook up the speed bar and go full trim out on my Spider just to catch up with him. And then, of course, when I finally caught up with him, he started going back to land. But and that's when you and I caught up together, which was great. But
I got something real quick,
Yeah.
if you don't mind. Anthony Peregringo in the chat said most people are weekend warriors and not pilots. So just curious, everyone that's out there right now that's in the chat, and you guys here too, how often do you fly? And the intermediate syndrome, is that because you're flying so often, or is it because you're not flying often enough? Can we talk about that?
yeah,
I think I don't think it has to do with how often you fly or not. I just think, at some point in your flying career, after a year or two, you get maybe a little complacent with your takeoffs and stuff and your landings, and everything's the same all the time, and you just know what to do, and then something changes. Maybe it's no wind that day, or maybe it's more wind, or just something changes. And
Anthony and I had that conversation about a week ago, I think it was, and he said exactly what you just said there, Sean. Weekend warrior, and that stuck with me too. And so you're saying it's not, but I think part of it is. I mean, I think you've got to go out there and practice. You've got to get out there and practice if you're going to be in the sport. I met a gentleman there who we talked for a while, and he said he doesn't get to fly very often. And I said, wow, this isn't a place where I would fly if I had less than 75 flights under my belt, because it
but
is.
you know that now, but you go in there not knowing that.
Right.
You don't know.
And you don't
going
want to
there.
listen. You don't want to listen to someone else because you think you
No.
can do it, right? You think you can do it. Now, then you got people like James Sutherland that's flying so much, and it shows. Look how great James is on that trike, and there's stuff he's doing it's incredible, right? You saw him fly. He looked
Mhm.
great. His takeoffs are sharp. His landings are crisp. He does a great job. You can tell he practices. John, you can tell that you go out and fly as often as you do by the way that you take off and land. You don't have any issues up there too. And Sean just had a bad day.
Remember that thing I told you, David? My
was no
buddy
lift.
Graham,
What's that?
my buddy Graham told me a while back. He said, he takes every takeoff serious, and even at that place, you know it's switchy winds. You don't have a lot of lift, so you really have to think about that stuff. Where you're going to set up? Are you going to have enough room to run all the way down the field to get the lift you need to take off? All that stuff. So you really have to take every takeoff serious.
Yep.
Sean,
you were going to say?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just saying that there wasn't a lot of lift, and knowing that now, looking back at some of these takeoffs, I don't know if you've seen it or not. I'm sure you were, but a lot of these people were way, way, way down the field, and they were running. I mean, like a football
Oh my
field,
God. It's
and they were
insane,
like
right?
jumping over wings. I mean, or just getting above the laid out wings that were there. It was incredible. I've never seen such a thing before in my life, honestly.
Or like what Flying Flamingo Jade says here. She says, "I fly as much as the weather allows us," and I'm pretty much the same way. If I'm not working and the weather is good, then I'm up there flying. Michael Weatherspoon says, "Know your individual limits." Yes, I was just as you were saying that, Sean. I was just thinking, maybe shame on me for this because I let John influence me. He did. And there was a takeoff that I had where it was my first crosswind takeoff, right, John? And it ended up me really turning and facing into all the people, but I was able to do it. I didn't know if it was my limit or not, and really shame on me because I probably should have practiced those crosswind takeoffs before I went to a fly-in. But I was confident, and I think that's why I ended up doing it, right? So, but individual limits, I mean, at what point do you know where you're going to be? This was a very small LZ, right, guys? Very small.
Postage stamp for like a new pilot or a low airtime pilot.
And if there's one
postage stamp size,
there's one thing that I could say of how this could have been a safer fly-in, it would have been to take all the vehicles and move them off the grass. We had all this pavement to use, but yet we decided to park and take up half the LZ with our vehicles and tents.
Yeah,
right?
3 years ago when I was there, everybody was on the concrete. No one was on the grass. I don't know what happened this year, but
yeah. What other issues? What other? I mean, that's a great point though. Limits. I mean, how do you practice? We used to tell people on the show year and a half ago, come out. Even if you've been flying and if you're not confident in your skill level, if you're just a new pilot, come out and just watch, right? I mean, there's people there that fly all the time that they just come and they just hang out. What do we say? What did you say before the show, Sean?
Oh, I didn't fly at all. After a failed launch or two, I called it a day, and I'm like, all right, something's wrong. I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's the altitude or what. And I just put everything up and hung out with friends. Yep. And I didn't fly at all at Moonshiners, but I had a blast because of all the people there and met up with a lot of people I haven't met up with yet. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was actually Tim Gaskins. I stole his line. Tim Gaskins taught me, and he said, you don't go to fly-ins to fly. You go there to be with the people. Mm-hmm. There you go. John, when there's a question in the chat, and it has to do with wings, you're the man to ask. And Want to Fly wants to know, should you not have a bigger wing at higher altitudes? John, does that matter?
Without a doubt, I would definitely go up a size.
Interesting. And John, can they buy those new gliders from you for up a size?
Heck yeah, if you want a Dudek product, we can get you any glider you want, except Dudek is in rehab right now. Yeah. So it's going to take some time. Material issues, everything.
Yeah.
But they're working on it.
A couple other comments that I'm just reading here as we're going through the show. Will Fly says, I taught about density altitude in Georgia for years, but never experienced the effect of it like I did at Moonshiners. What do you say, Sean, to people next year who say, I'm going to Moonshiners? What advice do you give them now for something like that? And granted, I would say this is probably one of the hardest LZs to take off of any fly-in. Would you agree with that?
I think, yes, it was definitely I'm not a professional, I don't fly, professionally. I fly as a sport pilot, just like everyone else. It's for fun. And I honestly, in the last year, I can only count maybe 2 times I messed up a launch. I've messed up 6 launches in a row and did not fly. I don't know what was going on. I mean, there was no lift. I ran forever. I saw people run forever. And I got a big wing too. I even dropped out. I usually fly with 5 gallons of gas because I love to go out and fly for a couple hours. I only put a gallon in. I still couldn't get off the ground. So is that crazy or what? I mean, as far as telling people next year about this, I would say that, if you want to go to Moonshiners, definitely make sure that you are on spot with your takeoffs. Don't try to take off with, 5 gallons like I was trying to. And
double your runway length as well.
Exactly. Make sure when you lay out and understand that as you're running down the grass strip, the wind might come around and be pushing you, which actually happened to me once.
Mm-hmm. I know, I did fly mostly foot launch. I did do the one tandem trike, and I already talked about how I didn't have much lift there. And, I know Travis had told me, I think he had told me that on one of his tandems that he did, and this is with the Cosmos, the new Cosmos, it took a little bit. but I'm curious, and they're in the chat right now, and I would love to know. I love watching. I already mentioned James, but also Jade and Eric Lear, because they look so good on the trikes, and if they felt like they needed more runway, I'm sure they did, but I didn't have a chance to ask them if they felt like there was more runway required to get lift, even with the trike. Obviously, it's gonna be there's no running with the trike, so it's a little bit easier that way, just more taxing with it. So interesting. I want to go back to Tim Garvey for a second, because he made a comment here, and he said, "I always think my bag of luck is running out. Hopefully, my experience will take over, but sometimes it does not." So Tim again is a very well versed, very good pilot, and there was a time, John. I don't know if you were on the show at the time, but I remember a while back I'd showed a video again with his permission, where he had a crash where he came basically straight down about 20 feet in his paramotor and just ruined it, just got it trashed, just from a quick error. And I wish I could speak more intelligently. I don't remember exactly what caused it, but I mean, again, if these amazing pilots, it's happening to them, don't think for a second it can't happen to you. DP, David Perry. So let's see if I can read this here. We're all used to driving our cars. It's easy. Yet how often do we take our eyes off the road? You get to your destination and don't remember the ride. Complacency.
Exactly.
Thoughts on that, guys?
It's the number one thing, complacency.
Yeah, we're so used to it, right? We're so used to it.
I still go through a checklist, though, a mental checklist when I'm going through. And I do say things out loud to remind myself. One of them is make sure my shoes are tied. One time I always double check my shoes or my boots, because one time they were not. And I mean, I didn't have any problem with it, but I was flying. I'm like, all right, my shoelaces are untied. I better put that on my checklist. So, I wonder how many people out there actually have a checklist that you actually write down, or do you have a checklist that you say out loud, or do you think about the checklist? Let us know in the chat, because I'm really curious to know that.
John, what do you have as a checklist?
I say it out loud to myself. Leg straps, chest straps.
Yeah.
Chin strap.
I do that too. I also have it when I'm locking in and checking my carabiners and my. So
And
here's
clear to the pulley.
Clear to
Always
the pulley.
clear to the pulley.
The thing is
Always.
I would like to say, and I think this can be accurate if I say it, is that I've never made the same mistake twice. I have had brakes wrapped around, and I've never done that again. Because when the mistake happens, I always check it again. It just always comes back to, I'm not gonna let that thing happen again. Okay. Have you guys ever had anything like that, where that is something that blares at you? You've made a mistake in the past, and that's not going to happen again?
No, unfortunately, it's happened again. So after the second time, I'm pretty sure I didn't make it again.
Hey, by the way,
it has happened again.
Yeah. By the way, Addison is here tonight. She's putting names in the chat. So did you post that comment or no? She just posted a comment, I believe. There it is. Names are being
hi, Addie.
John says hi. Uncle Johnny says hi. Uncle Johnny. She says hi, Uncle Johnny. So yeah, so make sure you're active in the chat. She's putting names in. So we have we're gonna do. Do you want to do 2 gifts or one? One winner or 2 winners, guys? What do you think?
Let's do two wheel spins. Let's get 2 winners out there.
That sounds good.
Since we all just had a good time at the Moonshiners, let's give some stuff away.
So PBG Grandpa here was kind enough to give me a couple calendars, and these are the 2021-2022 PPG calendars. We're going to give the first one away for the first one. We'll do that here in about 10 minutes or so. PPG Grandpa, do you have a favorite picture on here?
Well, actually, all of them are my favorite. And if you guys didn't know, if you go to paramotorcalendar.com, that's over on ppgzone.com. What we do is periodically we ask you guys to upload your favorite paramotor pictures. And then the top 12 or 18 we put into a calendar and then give away or sell for really inexpensive.
That's really neat. I like that one. Andy Peck in December. Very cool. Cool. Okay. That'll be the first one. The second one, since we're talking about safety tonight, this comes from Paranormal PPG. I got another hook knife here. It's my last one that I've got to give away. What a great way. Oh, we had a donation there. I missed it. Thank you. So we'll give those away here in just a moment. My man, DP. I was so bummed that he didn't get to fly. He didn't bring his gear. I offered it to him, but you know what? Smart as he is, he said, I'm not ready. Right? And DP says, "Arms for the poor. Thanks for the content. The host, guest, ripotypes."
And the ripotypes.
Ripotype. Time out. What's a ripotype?
The ripotypes.
DP, thank you so much for the donation to the show, buddy. I appreciate it. The ripotypes.
There's only one kind. I think he was specifically talking about me.
Oh, bounce back from that. Will Fly. Arms for DP. $5 in the super chat. Thanks, Will Fly. Appreciate that. Whoa. We got another one here, too. Shannon Brooks. A $5 super chat. We rounded up. Thank you, Shannon Brooks. Appreciate all those Will and Shannon and DP. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
And also too, guys, thumbs up really helps these shows. Definitely would appreciate some thumbs up. Thank you, David Wolf and Ripman Ryden. Always does a good job.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks,
Yeah,
bud.
and check out all the other shows as well. It's nice that we have that. We didn't have that for the longest time. We just had one show, and it wasn't even about paramotors until that guy.
There was a lot of Paramotor guys on there. Let's be realistic.
I know.
We took it over. We took it over and made him into a Paramotor pilot.
I remember when Robert started saying, "It's all things flying." Remember that? It's all things flying at this point. Jimmy Sutherland. I got to tell you something funny. So I'm going to tell you a story about Jim Sutherland. And Jimmy, I want you to know, I call him Jimmy. Why do I call him Jimmy? He made a $10 donation in the super chat. Thank you, Jimmy. I don't even know if James likes me calling him Jimmy. But so I told him I have this problem. And Addison can attest to this. Right, Addie? I'm about to embarrass my daughter in front of a lot of people. Yes, I am using your mug. 71 people. Wow, 71 people watching the show tonight. Okay, shh. I'm doing a show here. So Addison likes to leave her clothes on the floor. Right, Addie?
Yeah.
Yeah, even though Daddy says don't leave your clothes on the floor. Because, Addison, what happens when you leave your clothes on the floor?
The cats pee on them.
The cats pee on them.
Ah,
It's true. It's true.
boy,
So
I bet you learned a lesson.
Well, let me tell you, Daddy spends a lot of money on new clothes because someone can't keep her clothes off the floor. I'm going to tell her to go to school wearing it like that. But Jim Sutherland said, I got a product for that. So, Jimmy, I want you to know all the clothes are in the washing machine right now with Charlie soap because he said it'll take care of it all. It'll
Speaking of that, I'm doing a load right now with Charlie Soap.
You dropped a load with Charlie soap? That's awesome.
I didn't drop a load. I started a load.
All right. We just lost it. Linda Anderson, the PPG mama, with a $5 donation in the super chat. Thank you, Linda. Yes, awesome. What time is
So
it?
David, how
sir.
nice was it flying in that valley with the fog underneath us?
Oh my gosh. Why do you
Was
gotta
that
do that?
place
You're gonna really do that to Sean right now?
Was
No,
that
no,
place-
that's fine.
I'm sorry, Sean.
I think no, that's great. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing all these videos and hearing all the stories. Like I said, just because I wasn't able to fly doesn't mean I didn't have the best time of my life. I mean, I really did. I love everyone out there. You guys are awesome.
Oh.
Sean, I gotta say, I didn't know that you didn't get up, but if I'd known that, I would have let you take up my motor. It has such a big prop. It's got so much extra thrust. It would have got you off the ground.
What size is it?
It's a 140 prop. with
That's
a bit
what I
of
want.
resin.
That's what I want. I want
It's such a
140.
big difference in thrust. I can't even tell you.
Mm.
It's a game changer for me. So
I'm looking forward to
we'll
getting a
attest to that as
140
bad as
prop.
bad as bad as. What'd you say? Hey. You.
What's happening?
Is that me or is that Rip?
I think it's
I-
Ripa.
yeah, is it me?
All right, it's better now. That was the craziest thing. We just had a Max Headroom moment.
Hello.
No, I was just
Sorry,
gonna say it was
sorry.
like Max Headroom. No,
right.
I want to get a 140 three blade because I have a 140.
Yeah.
I have a 130 three blade, and that's not really awesome. But I'm looking forward to get on 143 blade.
I want to thank
Nice.
Geriatric PPG, who just made a $10 donation in the super chat. Appreciate that so much. Thank you very, very much. You guys ready for the next one? We have another super chat. I haven't read it yet. I'm going to read it live. It's one of my favorite ones to read every week. And it comes from Hot Butter Steve. By the way, Steve is the funniest person I have on Facebook now that we're friends on Facebook. Oh my gosh. I had to show my wife some of the stuff he posts. It's hysterical. He says, I have a checklist I go through. However, I don't always believe what I read. That's awesome. Did you hear it, John? Or did I laugh through it?
That's so funny.
He says, I have a checklist I go through. However, I don't always believe what I read. Steve, you're the funniest person. I love it. Thank you for that donation in the super chat, Steve. I appreciate it, man. That's so great. Oh gosh, what else is down here? All right, did I have anything else? Oh, Ken Stamey. Did I miss anybody? Hold on. Oh, okay. Ken Stamey, $5 super chat donation. Happy to see everyone last week. My gosh, that was so much fun. It was so much fun seeing everybody. You know, JP Tulo posted a picture that we all took together. I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. It was just awesome. Just awesome. I wish everybody that couldn't have been there. I'm seeing some names in the chat. I wish they could have been there as well. It is 9:50, Ripa. You know what that means?
This went fast. Yeah, it's about 10 minutes before I collapse in the bed for 10 straight hours.
Yeah, you and me both, dude. I'm exhausted. I took a nap all day long. I set alarm just to make sure I was able to jump on the show.
I tell you, that's a long time to sit in the vehicle.
Yeah. Addison wanted to say goodbye to everybody. She's done putting names in the wheel.
Everyone.
There you go. All right.
Good night.
She's got a big, what is it, TikTok growing or something?
TikTok.
TikTok. How many people you got on TikTok now?
11.1K.
11.1.
Wow.
11.
Wow.
She's losing followers. All right.
They don't like me anymore.
Well, you got to go get working on that, girl. All right. First thing we're going to do. Oh, I got to bring the wheel up here, don't I? All right. First thing we're going to do is going to be the calendar, right? All right, let's do this calendar thing here. And it's going to take about 25 seconds to spin this thing. Spinning fast. Sean, any announcements?
No announcements that I know of.
Okay.
Whoa, look at this. Yankee Paramotor with a heck of a donation.
Holy
Thank you, Yankee.
smokes.
Wow. Thank you, Yankee. We'll get to that in a second. Oh, man. He just won.
What?
He just
What?
won. Are you kidding?
No. No, we'll fly.
We'll fly one.
Will Fly has a calendar, doesn't he?
Yeah, I gave everyone in Clear Prop has a calendar.
All right. What do you want to do with Will Fly? God, he just won. You know what? The next time Will Fly, let me get back over here a second. Next time Will Fly goes into the water, and maybe he gets maybe he doesn't do such a good job laying his glider down on the side of the river. Maybe it gets caught in a tree. You know what he might need? He might need a hook knife. So why don't we send Will Fly the hook knife? Is that okay?
Perfect. I
All
think
right.
that's
Cool.
good.
That's fair enough. So Will Fly will have to meet me since the last thing he won, he just picked up from me this past week. So I'll do that. Yankee Paramotor, I love you, man. He says, safety, always a worthy discussion. A $50 super chat. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that.
Awesome.
Really, really do. Thanks, pal. Thanks. It was good flying with you for the moment that we were synced up together. And then it was great seeing your rear end the rest of the time. But I love you. I love you, man. All right. We got one more. We got the calendar to give away. Let's do that.
Spin it, Dave. Let's get it over with.
Spinning
Spin it.
now. John says, I'm tired. I need to go to sleep, man.
No. The wheel spinning stuff.
The wheel's spinning. It's spinning, baby. Wheel in the sky keeps on turning. All right.
Burning.
Craig Couch. Hot Butter Steve, maybe. I'm not giving it to Will Fly again if it hits on him.
I can't say it.
I'm sorry. There it is. Will Fly
We'll
again.
fly again?
No. Sorry.
What the heck?
Not happening.
What is that, rigged or what?
I think it is. I'm spinning it again. I think Addison likes Will Fly or something.
We'll fly. We'll win.
Yes, we'll win. It's only getting one thing. All right, coming down. Sean Nasker, Jim CR120. It's gonna be. It's on Jim. It's on Jim. It's on Jim CR120. There you go.
He always wins.
He does win a lot.
He wins
It's
a
like
lot.
always the same people. We gotta start taking people out of this thing. You know?
No.
No?
If they watch the show, they deserve to win.
I don't know. Maybe we should make a rule. You can only win once in a 60-day period or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
good luck remembering that.
I know.
I know. Spread the love. All right. Well, Jim CR120, I will send you the calendar. Will Fly. Both of you guys, if you just send me a Facebook Messenger, I will. Yeah. I'd like to say Will Fly has a lot of luck, but I don't know if this past week would have. You know what? It's nice to give someone else some crap instead of taking it all the time. I gotta say that. Flounder.
I know. So yeah, they call you Flounder. Is that it?
That is my bad apple name that was granted to me. Yes. Are you kidding? Is this
What?
true?
What?
Wow. Jade says that Will Fly needs a new pillow as the dogs ate his pillow. Is that true? Did that happen?
Yeah. They
What?
chewed up his red little pillow.
Oh,
Oh,
oh my gosh. That's horrible.
All right, David, in closing, buddy,
Yes.
what can we take away from this safety?
What are you going to take away from this safety?
I am going to continue to not be complacent.
Yeah.
And anyone that's around me, I'm going to try to help them not be complacent. I think I might have cracked one guy from ground starting, a good close friend of mine. I really got into his ear, and I'm thinking he's not going to do it anymore. He has a rack, and he's a young, healthy individual, so he can start it on his back if he needs to. Yeah. And if I got one, then I'm grateful. At least one.
I'm going to give you one that I didn't talk about, but as John knows, this is my biggest pet peeve at a fly-in.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to credit, and I'll give credit to one of my former co-hosts, Nicole Phoenix, because she helped me out with this. My first Bad Apples fly-in, I had landed, and within seconds, she grabbed my glider, she pulled it off my trike, and she took me off the field. It pisses the crap out of me when I see you people putting your gliders out, and 20 minutes later, you're coming back out with your motors on your back. Be ready to go. And when you land, don't leave your freaking glider there for people to fly around and not have an LZ to fly and land at. Get your stuff. You don't even have to unclip. Pick up your glider and walk off. Okay, I'm done. That pisses me off. I mean, we have such a small field. Get your stuff and get off. You don't have to leave it there. You're not entitled to own the field. Sean, what are you going to take away from the show?
What do you got, Sean?
I don't know, but my thing is trying to take off in a fly-in and having pilots flying right over your head, messing up the air. So I have to wait a while just to be able to get up. I have to wait, which means that the person behind me has to wait. And I agree about leaving your wing out there and coming back 20 minutes later with your motor. I agree with that. That's a takeoff also. Taking a takeaway, starting your motor on your back or rack. I've seen way too many issues with people getting chopped up
I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing it. There's no need for it.
That is just one of the things. I mean, what do we drowned and we get chopped up in a prop. Why are we not working on those two things? Those are the two things that we need to work on. We die because we drowned. We get chopped up in the prop. We need to stop that.
Amen.
Back or rack. I'm telling you, it's awful, and it breaks my heart.
Stupid. And you know what? I said this to John. I said, I don't care who it is, because there's a buddy of ours who, I'm not going to say his accomplishments, but a pretty well-known pilot that ground started in front of me, and from here on out, you ground start, get away from me. You're not going to ruin my day. I'm not going to be taking you to the hospital. Don't do it around me.
Yeah.
So, well said, guys. Well said. Sean, tomorrow night,
stuff.
We're going to see you tomorrow night on Clear Prop. And next week, we got Blaze Brogan. He's going to be coming in from the UK, 3 o'clock in the morning when the show starts for him. But he's great. Go check out Blaze and Sky on YouTube. Great pilot. Great. I don't think he wanted me to use the word instructor, but he's awesome. He's awesome. Check him out, and we will see everybody. Get to sleep. Get to sleep. And if you're still driving, please drive safely. Thanks for listening to the show. If you're watching this show after it's been aired live, please take into consideration everything we talked about. We just want everybody, as I said last week, I want everybody to go home with all 10 fingers and all 10 toes and every other part that you have and your equipment to be safe. Go home to your family safe so that they know that you're in a sport that you're taken very seriously and that you are being extremely safe about. God bless you all. Have a great night. We'll talk to you next
everybody.
week.
Good night. And thank you, David.
Thanks,
thank you,
Shane.
Rip.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.